What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome in to another episode of the Triple Play Fantasy Football Show, a proud member of the Fantrax Podcast Network and the FantraxHQ.com fam. DMendy here, joined as always by Johnny Foosball, John Van Etten. John, did you pregame with a Bud Diesel before the show today?
No, David, that's a weekend beer. The Bud Light Seltzer Lemonades, those are a weekday drink.
Ooh, I like that. Foreshadowing maybe for something to come later. I like it.
Wait, are you guys drinking right now?
No.
Always.
We always, man. Yeah.
I was respectful. I've got a Pepsi Zero because I'm like,
Hey, whoa. No free ads.
No free ads. Pepsi Zero. By the way, I don't know if you guys are golfers, but you should check out Srixon. Okay, sorry. I won't do that. That's it. That's the last one.
You're just plugging in all the ads. I love it.
I won't talk about Travis Matthews sweatshirt either. But anyways, no. I'm so sorry. I will not do that.
I'm going to save the man you hear if you're on the podcast version for last. Best for last, of course. We also have joining us the doc, Eric Mendelson, who's finally listening to some movie recommendations from me. How's it feel to finally smarten up a little bit and get more cultured, Eric?
I watched You. That's not a movie. It's a TV show.
Well, movies and TV shows.
Nah. I don't listen to you too much. Go to the next person.
Rounding out the normal crew, we have that DFS dude. It's the Bradstradamus, Brad Kilgore. What's going on?
Can I just tell you, I've been really thinking about trading Pat Mahomes. Like, what do you think you could get for Pat Mahomes?
All right, we're going on to the next guest because we are not talking about trading Pat Mahomes. Not my quarterback. Joining the pod this week, ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest, a special guest. We welcome in a man that ranks in the upper tier in terms of guests on this podcast, a third place winner at a sixth grade writing festival, an analyst on Good Morning Football Weekend, NFL Live, and TNF First Look on NFL Network. This Archie comic book reader has also written the popular weekly column, Unpopular Opinions for NFL.com, and is the host of the Adam Rank podcast, one of our biggest competitors. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome in the intern that never quit, the George Costanza of NFL fantasy analysts, the man that is unpopular with his high school friends, but very popular with triple play fantasy. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you...
I rank up and you know it.
Adam Rank, let's go! What's up, man?
What is happening? You know what? I feel like I'm unpopular with a lot of my college friends as well. Like, I have to wonder... I know that you kids probably don't know what Facebook is, but it's what a lot of us olds do. And I gotta wonder, like, how many people have me muted on Facebook or anything like that because they're just so sick of me and all of my whatever I'm talking about. Because I'll post something about my wife or my kids, and I'll look, like, who's liking this? And I know everybody who falls on the wrong side of the political spectrum, like, they're not liking these posts. And I'm like, oh, I got to be muted by them. And now I kind of want to go back and see what they're saying now as they're all sad and whatever. I'm sorry, I shouldn't tip which side I'm on. But you know what? But I just feel like I'm wildly unpopular with a lot of people. So I appreciate you reaching out to me to have me on because I love to do it. I love to hang out. I love to talk to people and do whatever. And I'm bummed that you guys are drinking already, having whatever. I'm sitting here trying to, you know, be respectful. And cut my day drinking down 2 hours ago. I'm like, I got to sort of be lucid as I go on to the show. But no, I'm pleased to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
No, I mean, Adam, people lost respect for us after our first episode. So we just ride with that now for every show we do. But
just so you know, this is a podcast. Like, there are no rules. If you just want to cut and go get a drink, you absolutely can.
No, I was going to text my wife and be like, can you just, like, these guys are drinking. Can you bring me a beer? No, because honestly, like but you know what? A lot of these times, you know, the conversations that you have, you know, talking about sport, like we're not talking about anything like super serious. A lot of these conversations happen at taverns or used to, or at tap rooms or whatever over a couple of drinks with your buddies. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And so I always try to be respectful though. And, because sometimes you go on and we hadn't met, like I hadn't seen you guys until we came on the camera. So one time I was sitting there and then all of a sudden you're like four junior high kids will show up on your screen. You don't want to be sitting there with a Bud Light seltzer like, oh, hey guys, like I was on a show not too long ago, and I made a reference about like, yeah, you want to be the guy at the bar who knows what he's doing. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are like 12, and I'm sitting here giving you an analogy about being a dude at a bar. Your parents must hate me. So
You're
but no,
prepping
you guys,
them for their future.
I know you really are, and but you
I
guys
saw
keep
that
it real.
show-
You guys are keeping it real. I love that though.
I saw that.
Are you
that
dipping?
show,
Is somebody dipping too? Wow, this is.
We're not going that far.
Who's dipping?
Okay. I didn't know.
No. No, it's kind of funny because I mean, I'm kind of curious. How old do you think everybody on this panel is? I'm about to blow your mind.
No, this is a 20s crew. You guys are of legal drinking age. I don't think there's anybody over 30. There can't be.
I'm
Who's the
29.
most
I'm
handsome?
close.
Yeah, there's no way. This is the young crew. Like, you're the guys when I'm in Vegas for like March Madness or whatever. Like, you're the guys, like, when I'm getting ready to go to bed, like, you guys are coming out hitting the casino. Like, yeah, let's go. Like, we're partying. I've been drinking since 9 a.m. I'm like, nah, I'm good. So, or anything like that. You're that crew, but I love the energy. I like the energy that you have and everything like that. So, yeah, I knew this was a young crew.
Well, I'm young enough still, but I know the Archie comics. I was going to ask you, who's your favorite character in the Archie comics?
First of all, it's still prevalent because Riverdale is a popular television show.
Yeah.
Like, you can't walk in you can't walk in anywhere anymore, but you walk in a Hot Topic and they're selling all the Riverdale gear. Like, it's cool. Like, it's now like like everything in my life growing up was uncool when I was a youngster. And now it's awesome. Like, everybody's into it. Of course, the Riverdale television show is a little bit different than, the comics that I grew up with, but it is still, it's still pretty cool. It's popular now. It's at its apex. And I think who is my favorite guy?
Gotta be Jughead.
Juggy. Yeah. Yeah, of course. I
Sprouse
liked Archie.
twin?
The what?
The Sprouse twin?
Yeah.
Cole or Dylan, one of them.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. They do play that. I forgot. Yeah.
They do. I actually liked Archie. I thought Archie was okay. Like, a lot
Archie's
of times,
the player.
whenever there's a series like that, I always end up hating the main character. Like, if you ever watch, you guys probably aren't old enough to remember a show called How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, of course.
But I hated Ted. Like, Ted was because he is a douche. Like,
You hate because he's narrated by Bob Saget? Because I can see that. I can see that.
I like Bob Saget. Like, I rather,
Wow,
this is
mind blowing then.
but why doesn't Josh Radnor, why doesn't he, although I never saw the last episode. Can I tell you, I never saw the last episode?
Don't. You're not missing anything. You're not missing anything.
I missed the last 3. And what had happened is I was streaming it, and it was actually on my DVR. And I was, you're watching it, you're like, because I never watched it when it was on the air. I watched it back in syndication. And so finally, one time when FX had it and it spun around to episode 1, I just recorded the series, watched it, streamed a bunch of them. And as I got into the last season, I'm like, and I think it was like it was after the Gary Blauman episode. And I'm like, hey, I go, you know what? And I told my friend, I said, listen, I go, I'm noticing a trend here. If for any reason, if the mother dies and Ted ends up with Robin, I'm burning down your house. And my friend literally, not figuratively, literally deleted the final 3 scenes or the final 3 episodes off my DVR. He showed me a video, a YouTube video of like the alternate version, and it's a happy version and everybody's alive and everything. And I'm like, okay, that's how the show ended to me. So I don't know. I shouldn't speak onto any of that, but I still hate it. Like, Ted sucked. Like, he was just too much. Like, Marshall was the guy.
Adam, I feel
Barney
like
was the guy.
We could literally do probably a whole podcast just talking about these shows, and it would
No, we couldn't. I feel so left out. I've never seen Riverdale. I don't know Archie. I don't watch How I Met Your Mother. This is
Brett,
cool.
what do you watch scripted television? What is your deal? Like, no, I'm not having a go at you. I'm just curious what you like.
Dude, I watch a movie a day. I watch all sorts of.
Have you seen San Andreas?
With The Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
That's a great movie.
It is a great
There's
movie.
no way. There's no way that's a good movie.
That's a great film.
Oh, it's a great movie.
It's a great film.
It's not like Stanley Kubrick, but it's like, just sit back.
What about the one where he's
explosions
trapped in
and
a
chill out.
skyscraper?
The aptly named Skyscraper. Let
I
me
was
tell you
about to
something.
say, yeah.
Let me tell you something about Skyscraper. Now, Skyscraper came after San Andreas, which is really difficult to do. You know what I'm saying? Like you've just made a masterpiece. It's kind of like Harrison Ford. I don't know if you've heard of him, but Harrison Ford was in a movie called Star Wars, and he followed it up with doing Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like that's tough to follow up, and yet he nailed it. Similarly, The Rock did San Andreas, and you're like, he can't top what he did in San Andreas, which is a masterpiece. He goes, not only does he do the Skyscraper, I need to know, because I want to know. I really, if I ever get one chance to talk to The Rock, it's not going to be about WrestleMania 17 and the double turn or anything like that. I want to know if the idea of the prosthetic leg, was that in the script or was that a choice that Dwayne made himself? Because I like to believe the latter, if it's possible, but I would like to get to the bottom of that some point. But yeah, Skyscraper, also a wonderful piece of cinema.
Have you tweeted him? That's a great question. I think you need to tweet that to him.
Bro, I tweet that all the time. The only time that he's tweeted at me was I ranked a lot of the football movies, and he's in two of them. He's in Quarterback Princess, and he's in Gridiron Gang. And so I said, these are two of the top movies. I think I had, if it wasn't Varsity Blues, it was North Dallas 40 as the number one. And he did, it was North Dallas 40. He's like, yeah, that was an epic.
Any Given Sunday?
That's okay. Any Given Sunday. Can I tell you why I don't like it as much, and why whenever somebody talks about Willie Beeman,
Steamin'
Willie Beeman.
Okay, let's talk about Any Given Sunday. Now, in the guise of the Any Given Sunday universe, that league that they're in exists alongside of the NFL. So what we're talking about is the league is sort of an XFL, AFL type thing. Like it's it is. No.
You're a madman. Somebody lost an eyeball. You're telling me it's less than the NFL?
Let me tell you something. Like in that cinematic universe, it is a competitor with the NFL, which means it's a secondary league. It's a UFL. It's something like that.
NFL is secondary to what I was watching.
No, it's not. No,
you gotta go back and watch it again.
I watched it.
We can live stream a watch.
I watched. Let's do it, because let me tell you, it's a secondary league, and Willie Beeman is the third string quarterback for a team in a secondary league.
This is blasphemous. You're stressing me out, actually.
I'm not trying to stress you up. I'm just trying to. That's the way they set it up. Now, if they had done it, like if you ever watched The Replacements, in the movie The Replacements, the NFL doesn't exist. Like the Premier Football League. Yeah, in the Premier Football League that we're talking about is the one that we're seeing there. And so then you can be like, okay, Shane Falco is one of the best quarterbacks in pro football, because of that. But, in the Any Given Sunday universe, it was a weird choice for them, too, to pretend like they were a competitor with the NFL. They should have just done what The Replacements did and pretend it never existed. By the way, that movie also stems from a book called You're Okay, It's Only a Bruise. It was written by the former LA Raiders team doctor, Wayne Huizenga, not the former Marlins owner, but Wayne Huizenga, the doctor. It's a pretty interesting book. So a lot of the things that you see in the movie are in the book. It was like one of the first times in my life where I'm like, I saw the book that this movie is based on, so I can say the book was better. Like, because everybody is always so proud to say that. Like, of course the book's better. It's 400 pages where you get to flesh out characters as opposed to a 30-minute or 90-minute romp of something else. It's why comic book movies sometimes can't translate. Sorry.
I'll just say that if you think Al Pacino would coach in a secondary league, you're a madman.
No, he is a burnout. He is a guy who is forced out of the NFL, who's getting a secondary chance. Somebody like Mouse Davis, who went and coached in the USFL. Jeff Fisher, like that kind of person who's not going to be hired in the NFL anymore, goes and finds a second career. We see it all the time.
Coaches don't get burned out. It's a carousel. You just keep going.
They get burned out. There's
if Jeff Fisher wanted to come back, he'd be back right now. He'd go make the Bengals 8-8.
No way. No, that has passed him by. There's no way.
All right, well, I have to get this ship back on track here. It's
Do
kind
you?
of funny because we literally,
ships
Do
are not
we?
on tracks.
Yeah,
let's
there's
just
not a
let's
track
talk
at
movies the
all.
rest of the
yeah,
day.
you
It's
see,
in the
that's how
ocean.
much you guys have jumbled my brain right now.
Blow up the rundown. Do we really need to debate spork or spoon?
No.
Fork or spoon? Like, blow up the rundown. This is an interesting conversation. We're talking about cinema. We're talking about fictitious quarterbacks. By the way, I always contended too, like at the end of, like, first of all, in Varsity Blues, now Bud Kilmer
Excellent
walks
movie.
off. I love it. It's one of my favorite movies. Where are the assistant coaches? Like, where is everybody? Is he like, you're a top ranked
That's why he's a
high
legend.
school program in tech, and the parents are cool with this. Like, is there not one parent up there being like, there's no longer an adult down on the sidelines? Because all those dads think that they could coach football. They would all be running down there to coach that team. So I
I'll
want
just
to
say
know.
that's John Voight's best performance he's ever done.
Oh, easy.
National
Well, you guys
treasure,
agreed on
Brad.
something. No.
National treasure.
Incredible.
He was great. Listen, he's done a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of
national treasure. Good call, Johnny Foosball.
he's done a lot of great things, but there is one time that he's better. It's like Tom Brady, like he's won a lot of Super Bowls. There's one time where you're like, well, that's probably his best performance. So, that's what happened with John Voight right there. Although he's kind of a creep though. So I don't want to give him too much credit, but as an actor,
he's got
he's pretty
too.
good. Yeah. That's the problem.
But you gotta separate the art from the artist.
Exactly.
What's your take on Nicolas Cage?
I'm a huge Nick Cage guy.
Good
I
man.
love Nick Cage. I love his movies. The Rock I saw in the theater like multiple times.
Have you seen Mandy?
Of course. Wait,
What about
what about Con Air? Yeah, that's a good movie.
absolutely.
By the way,
Cyrus the Virus.
it took me a while. Cyrus the Virus.
Cyrus the
the
Virus.
damn virus. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Shoot down that plane. What are you doing? By the way,
Absolutely.
I always hate too that whenever they do movies like that, whenever they're doing a depiction of the Las Vegas Strip, like they don't have the topography correct at all. Like the Sands isn't next to the Hard Rock. Like, no, like if you made it to the Hard Rock, you're basically at the airport. Anybody who's flown in to Las Vegas knows that the Hard Rock is the closest casino to the airport. Although I guess if you counted like the Tropicana or whatever, but in the route that they're taking, you don't hit the Hard Rock and then swoop around to go hit the Sands, which is where the Venetian is now. That always bugs. But just use it, whatever. Like although I do kind of, I look the other way during Ocean's 11 because I know the MGM probably doesn't have a tunnel that goes to the Bellagio. But listen, I'll give them. I'm a big Clune Dog guy. So by the way, have you ever seen that movie Up in the Air?
I've never heard of
Excellent.
it.
Excellent.
Never heard of it. David, stop it. You're out of this conversation.
You talk about a beautiful romantic movie. Up in the Air
Sounds like it's right
top
up my
tier.
alley. Let me look it up.
It is such a great movie, but I will tell you this, Brad. Anna Kendrick is one of the biggest movie villains of all time. She
Ooh.
ruins
Take.
the Clune Dog's life. That guy was so happy. There was he was happy with everything that was going on in his world, and she bummed him out, made him fall in love with somebody who was unattainable, and it just flipped him upside down. Like Anakin,
like
that
that.
character, biggest
What's that
villain.
movie? What's that movie with her and what's her name? She's married to Deadpool. Ryan
I don't know if
Reynolds.
people agree with you, Adam. They say it's a bold take.
That is a bull take. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, people are agreeing. They know.
Listen, Dave, this is a movie podcast now.
We've really just
Podcast
hijacked
has been
this.
hijacked.
I'm sorry. This is what happens when I sit down and some guys are fun and we're having a good time.
Oh,
All
it's
right,
all
wait,
good.
Adam, I gotta ask, what movie have you seen the most? Like, you've probably
Oh, that's a
watched
good
100
question.
times.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I know it would be easy to say something like one of the Star Wars movies or anything like that, which is it could be, but I really do believe that it's movies that are like, it is the movies like San Andreas or Con Air or anything like that, because those, the Notebook's fine. Like I watched it the other day. I love Independence Day. Like there's certain like attitude movies. Like if you're going to watch a Star Wars film, like I'm going to want to sit there and watch it. And I'm usually watching it with somebody, so I'm taking it a little bit more serious. But sometimes when you've had a couple of drinks in you, or you've done whatever and you're like, I just want to watch a movie and I don't care. And you end up watching like Hot Tub Time Machine or
Yes,
something
sir.
like that. Like those are the kind of movies I feel like if I had to really think back to it, those are the movies that I've probably watched the most. Happy Gilmore, like something like that, where you're like,
yeah, absolutely.
King Kong start with Jack Black as a guilty pleasure of mine.
Shawshank Redemption. Somebody chimed in with Shawshank Redemption. That's a good call because
That's
it's
a great-
always on.
that is one of those, because that's another movie that's like, if it's on, you're going to
Yeah.
watch it. Yeah. That's another good one too, but it's not a
Tommy
party movie.
Boy. Tommy Boy is an excellent.
Yeah,
one.
like Tom. That's another. Like again, like if you're just sitting there and you're in a mood, you got a nice buzz going. You're like, you know what? I just want to crack open a Michelob Ultra to kind of wind the night down.
You're just
Easy.
fast and loose with the advertisements right now.
What do you mean? Like I didn't mean that in a
It's
bad way.
unacceptable. We're gonna have to kick you out.
I'm
Is
glad
that
you didn't. I'm glad you didn't say something like Wedding Crashers. I feel like that's everybody's
That's a
go-to
great movie.
answer.
That would be a great.
That's
call.
a good.
Yeah, but it's
movie.
everybody's call that they can quote Wedding Crashers.
Haven't you ever heard of Wisdom of the Crowds, Eric?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, Billy Madison.
Sometimes
I just
people
saw
like
that
Billy,
one pop
Billy
up. That's
Madison's
a good.
a good one.
That's a good one. I see Happy Gilmore more than I see Billy Madison. Not that I think that it's a better movie, but I think that accessibility. I do
they
watch a
Are
lot.
they making a second one?
I was about to say, if they remade Happy Gilmore, would you be happy about it or disappointed?
I would love it, but I think that they need, I don't know who the actor would be. And maybe Shooter McGavin is kind of this guy, but they need a Patrick Reed. I guess Patrick Reed is Shooter McGavin. I guess that's the kind of like running joke now. If you were thinking about current modern, what are you talking about? Golfers.
I'll tell you what.
What's up?
I got love for Shooter McGavin, but if he was Nicolas Cage, this would have been an all-time movie.
Oh, that's a good call.
That's
What?
a huge miscast.
No, but
No.
Not a
But do you,
miscast.
do,
That's a
do you
poor
think,
word.
do you think he
Miscast,
could
'cause he's
have had that rapport with Adam Sandler? Like him and Shooter McGavin
Yeah.
seem like they have a natural rapport.
yeah.
Nicolas Cage has a rapport with everyone. He's the
Picture
most
him
incredible
doing
actor
that.
of all
This
time.
is golf scene where he like breaks the beach ball. That's pure Nick Cage.
Absolutely.
This
I don't
is
know.
golf.
No. Shooter McGavin was cast. I think there's a role for Nicolas Cage is a more intense golfer, kind of an older version of not Spieth, but somebody who's really intense. It's like Billy Horschel, who's like kind of like super intense. If you had Nicolas Cage playing a Billy Horschel type character, I could really get into that. Like I think that it could
Bryson
really
DeChambeau.
yeah. Oh God, I hate that guy. I shouldn't. Like
Why does everybody hate him? I don't get it.
I used to like him. You know what? Because he's that dude who just gets swole at the gym and just thinks he's super hard. Like he's trying to reinvent the game and he's trying to
I love
outsmart
that
it.
about him.
Golf, yeah, well, golf is showing him who's boss right now. Like
He just won a major.
he won one major. Like I hope he's David Duval
That's
won
like
a major.
saying he won one championship.
David Duval won a major. What happened to him? Justin Leonard. Did Justin Leonard win a major? Anyways, like it's always weird. Like when you think of like all these contemporaries of Tiger, like over the course of his career, I guess Mickelson would be like a Shooter McGavin. No, because he's kind of fun. Anyways, no,
Who's
Bryson,
the asshole of golf. I'm trying to think.
Patrick
Bryson
Reed.
DeChambeau.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he keeps cheating.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like DeChambeau is he's kind of like he's the meathead that people are kind of annoyed with, but Patrick Reed's the guy who
I disagree. I don't think you can be a meathead and a nerd at the same time.
No,
Yeah, you can.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
can.
can.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Eric is adamant about that one.
Yeah, you definitely can. Like Bryson DeChambeau is it. Like that. Yeah, it's happening. Like here's the case. Here's the
worst of both
thesis.
worlds.
Yes, that's the worst part. He's smart and strong. I don't like that.
Adam, I don't know if you knew this. We're a sports podcast, but like these two on the side here, I can't point to them the right way. The two on the outer edge, they're on our YouTube channel. They're starting movie minutes, and they're doing this exact thing. They're just doing movie discussions. on
Oh, is that right?
This was a test run. This was a test run.
We haven't done it yet, but this is gonna go well. I
This
can
is
tell already.
this is the pilot right here. This
Oh,
is
this
like
is-
this is how they launch a lot of pilots and like spin-offs, I should say, where
Right.
they have it's part of the show and then it breaks off. Like they tried to do it if you ever watched The Office. I don't know if you guys are old
Yeah.
enough to remember
I love
The
The
Office.
Office.
There
The
is a
Dwight spinoff.
the Dwight spinoff, the Schrute Farms thing. Like it's just so awkward, but they're trying to see if this would last as a television show.
Hopefully, we do better than Joey.
Oh, Joey.
Yeah, but I think with The Office, as soon as Michael Scott left, it was bad. But if you're watching it, you're like, I have to watch The Office. But it doesn't give you that same pleasure as when you first started watching.
If you think of Robert California
Oh,
as the guy who's in, what's the show that he's in now? That Spader's in now? The Expendable or whatever it is, where he's the blacklist. He's like a criminal mastermind.
I just know he wears a weird hat.
Yes. If you think of Robert California in The Office as a prequel to the show that he's on now, where he's this mastermind criminal, and this was one of his aliases, then it brings it all together.
I love how you think of movies as their own universe.
Yeah,
Like you're bringing them in. I love that.
It's what I do. Like that's the way you're supposed to be in it. Then you enjoy it. It's a multiverse.
Do you have any acting experience?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm a thespian. Yeah, of course. Listen, I grew up in
There's a T in there somewhere.
Thespian.
what does that even
Thespian,
mean?
yeah,
Thespian.
This is Sal. This is Sal. You're giving me bees, babe. You need peas.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's because I'm left-handed. I always get stuff mixed up.
That makes
B's
sense.
and P's are always flipped for me. But
The good old left-handed dyslexia.
and then my dad made me golf right-handed. Like it's a big thing. Like I don't know. I'm mixed up. Oh, you know what? When I was a kid, the teacher in my school wouldn't let me write with my left hand. I had to write with my right hand because it was a parochial school. Then the devil apparently is left-handed. So I couldn't do that. Like, okay, like this, we're not too far. Like we're really like this was, and like I didn't grow up in the 50s. Like this
Sounds
is like
abusive.
it is. Like
Yeah,
what a
teacher could
terrible
get fired for that today.
They should, because it's terrible. I couldn't read in the first grade. It was annoying. Like they couldn't figure it out. They're like, I went through testing and they're like, can you literally not read? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I can't read these words. And I had to go through a little an assessment type thing it sucked. Like at first grade during the summer, I had to do summer school to learn how to read and then catch
Look
back
at you
up.
now. You're reading.
Look at me
teleprompters.
now. You know, I always get nervous too, and I'm always like, oh geez, am I gonna be able to read this? But yeah, so I caught up. So
I can't
Derek,
picture you
in
getting
your
nervous.
School for kids who can't read good.
Yeah, that was. What an amazing film, Zoolander. What a great
Yes,
John
another one.
Voight, another John
That's
Voight
another one.
performance. Well, see, it all ties together. So it really does come together. But yeah,
That was a callback for our less than savvy TV production people.
yeah, the callbacks are always good. It rewards the people who have watched the whole thing. They're like, oh yeah, John Voight. Like somebody was sitting there. I'm sure before I even verbalized it, there was somebody listening going like, John Voight's in that movie. So congratulations to you. You nailed it. And but acting, yeah, I had a little bit of an acting background. I mean, again, growing up in Southern California, I think you have to. At some point, you do fancy yourself going into the theater or the arts or anything. I guess what I do is kind of the arts. But yeah, my sister was, she's in production and does like TV stuff and makeup and wide-ranging thing. So it was always something that we were into. And of course, taking, when I was a youngster, I wanted to do stand-up comedy, and I do it on occasion. And I wanted to, when I was in school, they offer you, it's part of the electives, so to speak, is you can take acting classes. So I always got into that and didn't major in it or anything like that, but always had a fancied it a little bit, I guess is the way to go. So yes.
I'm just thinking of
As,
Matthew Berry, because Matthew Berry wasn't he in the Avengers or like some popular movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking that could be you. You could
Maybe.
be. Yeah, you should be.
If I could get into San Andreas too, I think that would be my dream role.
If we
That
made
was-
if we made a
You
movie,
could,
would
you
you
could
star
show
in
me
it?
San Andreas and skyscraper clips, and I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between them.
It's in the same universe.
Well, what are you talking about? No, that's not. Because one of them, The Rock's got a prosthetic leg. Like they're two different universes, of course. Everybody knows this.
Yeah, because
But-
he got hurt in the first movie.
Stop it. Now you're messing me up. There is a San Andreas too. I don't know if it's in production now. Am I going to look this up? I want to see.
Absolutely.
So the Rock's, stop it. I'm not gonna listen. Somebody chime in. Somebody who's watching the show, chime in. They're not the same character. There's no way.
Which
No, because he's got two
All
different.
right,
He's got.
I'll be honest. I made that up, but it could
He's got
be.
two different families. Two different
That
families.
wasn't canon, Brad. Come on.
Yeah, Skyscraper is not in San Andreas canon. Everybody knows this. That is you know what's funny is because anytime there is a thing where anybody's asking about like what's the best movie ending, what's the greatest movie, blah blah blah, I always say San Andreas. And now it's become a thing to the point that because people get so upset by it that I've now dug in my heels even more. And people are like, you got to be trolling, bro. I'm like, no, dude, San Andreas is one of the greatest movies of all time. It's an excellent film.
I haven't seen it.
Excellent movie.
I would be disappointed. I mean, I'm not one of those guys who gets upset if you haven't seen anything.
Okay.
Like, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones or anything, I don't care. Like, you're the one who's missing out, not me. You haven't seen San Andreas. That's just like something like fine. Like your life is less rich because of it. Like people
That's such a mature outlook. Why can't more people be like that?
Why is it a thing? It's like, here's another, like, it's also like when you don't like something. Like one of my friends doesn't like tomatoes, which means he doesn't like pizza. And you would think people would like, they get so offended. They're like, how do you not like tomatoes? Like what's wrong? It's like, it's not, he's not making a political statement about it. His taste buds do not find tomatoes agreeable. Like I don't personally, I don't like eggs. And it's like, people are like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, listen, my life would be easier if I liked this food product because you can't go to breakfast without having them try to shove eggs down your face. Like that's the thing. Like my life would be great if I wish I liked it. I wish I could make myself like eggs. I can't. So stop yelling at me.
So can you eat food that has eggs in it? Or just...
Oh, yeah. It's not like I'm allergic to it. I just don't like the texture of eggs or anything like that. I don't like mayonnaise or anything.
Your regular old Guy Fieri.
Yeah, like, what are you going to... Fieri.
Fieri.
But why, going back to the tomato thing, then you say, oh, you don't like tomatoes and you don't like pizza. But I don't think that's completely different. Regular tomatoes are like disgusting.
Listen,
It's not.
Tomatoes are a hand fruit.
Yeah. I honestly sometimes hate hanging out with this guy because it's so difficult to get food. And it's like, oh, like, hey, let's grab a pizza. And then you see English Dave, that's his name. And you're like, oh, God damn it. Like, oh, he doesn't like, I'm like, get him the marguerite or whatever. Like, I don't care because we're all ordering pizzas because it's the easiest thing to do. Yeah. Let's order. You can't even go order tacos. He's like, oh, make sure. I'm like, yeah, I know. No tomatoes.
No
like,
pico.
Jesus Christ. Yes. Please stop. Like, it's not
impressive.
It is impressive. Like it is one of those things, but I don't know. And
is he skinny?
He's a thin man.
Okay,
yeah. Cause it's like, it's a TB12 thing.
Yeah.
Like Tom Brady just doesn't eat tomatoes. He probably likes them, but he doesn't eat them. I guess they're bad for you or something. I don't know. Like he's crushing it at age 43. So
I admire people that like don't like food. Like they don't eat for enjoyment. They eat for sustenance and just like move on with their life.
This is getting very like
that is it's a good trait.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, and I think more out of necessity, I was the same way. Like I'm sitting there eating protein bars just because like, well, I don't want to pass out when I'm doing whatever. But yeah, I agree.
I'll eat when I'm bored. Like I just love tasting food things. Like,
oh my God.
That can never be me.
We're 35 minutes in and we haven't talked football yet, and I love it.
We're not going
to. Talked to Jeff Fisher. We talked Fisher
Willie Beeman.
I do want to do the game
Willie
at the
Beeman,
end.
Jeff Fisher.
I will do the game at the end, but everything.
Wait, can I go back? Because I know that one of the questions, because I got an advanced copy of the rundown. Because I'm interested to anybody who knows. This has been unscripted. This is what happens, and this is no disrespect to you, David. Is if somebody sends me a rundown, odds are I'm gonna go a different way because it's just the way. It's just the way that I am. I'm like, bro, it's March. Let's have some fun. Let's chop it up.
Adam, have you seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Of course.
You're like,
you've never seen it? You don't like that show? What's wrong with you? You know what? Can I say one thing?
You're Charlie.
I will. Yeah. Okay. Probably. I will let
Wild
you.
card, yeah.
No,
I will. The wild card. I will let. I will let. We'll get back to that subject. I did want to say one thing about Game of Thrones because there's nothing that offends people more than. And I'm pointing now. I shouldn't point.
I've not seen it, by the way.
You know what?
haven't
And
either.
that's fine.
You haven't
And
seen it, Brad?
That's okay. Listen, that's the. You know what? That
again.
reaction. That reaction right there. That's the reaction I want when somebody says I don't wear a mask in public. Like it's become too common. Like people are like, whatever. Like you're such a maverick. Like good for you. But you tell some like you're like I don't wear a mask, and people are like, yeah, whatever. And you're like, I've never seen Game of Thrones. What? You do what? I am going to kill you. Like that's. I want that reaction. Like I want us to scale. Like I want us to figure out what's important in life, more so than like whether we watched a television show or not. Like you didn't watch Game of Thrones. I'll tell you guys I didn't watch it. I watched like 3 episodes, maybe 4.
What?
I didn't enjoy it. See, that's it.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Like I've seen it. I've seen like when my girlfriend's watching. Like I've seen like episodes because everybody like it's a whole event. Like
Yeah.
they take over timelines and everybody would watch it. So I'd be like, all right, let me tune in for a few minutes. And dragons were cool, but I haven't really gone back to look.
And you know what, Brad is, and you would know because on Sunday nights it would be trending on Twitter.
Yep.
And you know what would happen every time that a Game of Thrones thing was trending on Twitter is I wouldn't say a goddamn thing. I would just let it go because I'm not involved in it. However, if it's WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble, there's always got to be somebody who I don't know who does this or who enjoys professional wrestling, but you really need to get a life.
That
Like,
person's the worst.
why are you tweeting? Who cares? Like, here's an idea. You don't like professional wrestling? Don't tweet about it. There, you're
Amen.
close Twitter. Problem solved. And every night when you guys were talking Game of Thrones, I just sat that one out. I said, you guys enjoy yourself. I'm going to go watch Skyscraper. You all have a good time.
But I like
do
you
my thing.
involved with
I
like
muted Game of Thrones when it was on, and there was like 2 people tweeting an hour.
no, but like you feel like you're involved with everybody. It's like that inclusion factor that you
Community.
crave.
Which is fine. And if you're a fan of that, then you should do that. But I don't think that the people who go in to be like, Game of Thrones is stupid, like, you don't need to be there. You don't need to ruin their good time. They're having an enjoyable evening watching the show about dragons.
Less
I will
enjoyable
say-
as the seasons went on.
Yeah, Johnny. I will say like one of my biggest pet peeves is like sort of like milking series like way too long.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was a big Walking Dead guy, and then I just dropped out. I was like, all right, this is too much. It's gotten too repetitive. They're just kind of. It felt like they were just like
They weren't fighting zombies anymore, which was the issue.
yeah. Like eventually, you just got to a point where it's like, oh, you don't have to worry about the zombies. You have to worry about the people, and that was like the theme of every episode. And I'm like, all right, I get it, but let's wrap it up.
Yeah. You know, and unfortunately, there's too much at stake advertiser wise or production, you know, and people are
The capitalism
working.
of it all.
Yeah, you know, but people have
Yeah.
jobs. Like that's always one of the things too. Like, you know, the people who work on those shows still get paid. So I have less of
And-
an issue with it because, you know, the people are making money. It's kind of like anytime Adam Sandler does a movie and the movie's dog ass.
Oh, boys.
And it's like, but you think about like all the people who get work, everybody associated with Happy Madison who has worked because Adam
Rob
Sandler's
Schneider.
Rob Schneider.
Well, no.
Single-handedly.
But, like, even-
I know you're talking about the crew and everything.
But even even further down the masthead, like if you go down and watch the credits and like think of all these people and not necessarily his friends who are starring in the movie, but all those production people, like they get jobs and Adam Sandler goes out there and he takes all the slings and arrows and everybody mocks him and they say he hasn't made a good movie or whatever. A lot of people are getting paid
That's not
because of
true.
that. That is true.
Speaking of delightful rom-coms, 50 First Dates. Just
Oh,
watched that.
great.
Just watched that a little while ago. It absolutely holds up.
100%. Him and Drew Barrymore, that was a perfect
Magic.
combination. Oh,
I mean, they're like
unbelievable.
they've been in like 3 movies together, right?
That seems right. 50
Yeah, like-
First Dates, Wedding Singer, and
Oh yeah, Wedding Singer.
There was another one too.
there
right?
is another one. Yeah, there's one more, and I can't think of it. We'll think of it. Somebody will
kinda
chime
wanna-
in.
I
Sound
kind of
off
want to
in
get
the
back into
comments
Walking
below.
Dead now.
Hold on, wait,
No, I
yeah,
was just
Adam, have you
talking to
seen
about it.
Schitt's Creek?
Oh, you know what? That's okay. I have not seen it. It's not because I don't think it's funny or I don't like the cast or anything like that. I have not had the opportunity to jump into it. I miss series. Everyone like it. Something slips through the cracks, and I know that when
it's easy listening. It's like a San Andreas. Like you can just turn it on and just kind of chill and watch it, and eventually, just osmosis, it'll seep into you, and you'll keep watching it.
I want to see. I love Eugene Levy, and isn't it his son's in it too? Right, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's like the star of it.
Okay, yeah. So I really want to check it out. It was when the pandemic first started. One of the series that I gave up on a long time ago was Parks and Recreation, mostly because, and a lot of people agree about this, is that the first season wasn't very good. So having some time, people are like, "Oh, you should go back and check it out again." And so they're like, "You can skip to season 2." And I said, "No, I'll start. It's 6 episodes. I'll watch those first 6 episodes again," and went through it. That was a delightful series. So glad that I did. Thank you, whoever's dog was agreeing with me. Like that's a delightful series. And I want to go back and rewatch it.
He's a big Parks and Rec fan.
So after the first season, like the whole first season's bad, or just the first few episodes?
You know what? Knowing that I was going to be in for the long haul, I wasn't as annoyed by the first season as I was when I watched it when I first tried to give it a chance. But once they got rid of Brahma Quit and changed up a couple of characters, they brought in Adam Scott and Rob Lowe, and that really changed the dynamic. Star-Lord got a bigger role in it too. Andy Dwyer.
Most like comedies don't hit their stride right away. It's really tough.
Yeah, that's very true.
So wait, Adam, the only question I was curious on here, if you were Archie, who would you have chose between Betty, Veronica?
That's such a horrible transition, but go
No,
ahead.
I'm curious.
I
did want to talk about this. Who is Ethel?
Jughead's girlfriend.
It was the girl that loved Jughead. She was she was kind of
in Riverdale. Was she part of the cult? If I had been watching Riverdale,
Yeah, she's on it. They have, but the comic books are so different from that series, so it's really hard. You're like, oh, I forgot.
Basing off the comic books, if you're Archie, who are you wifing up?
Well, even if I'm me, I'm a big Veronica fan.
What? I know is it because of the money? It's because of the money.
Veronica sucks, and she's a bad person, and I'm, I don't want to say it because I'm married, and I don't want my wife to think like I'm attracted to terrible girls, But no, I always liked Veronica. You know what I think it was too is like I always wanted to go out with a girl named Veronica just so I could call her Ronnie. And I think having a wife named Ronnie Rank would be kind of fun. Like, this is my wife, Ronnie
Rank.
Rank.
Like a hot name.
Yeah, like you're an attractive dame if your name's Ronnie Rank. I don't know. Plus, I'm a brunette person. Yeah, that has always been my wheelhouse. I don't know if you guys remember a show called Baywatch back in the day. They had Pamela Anderson on it. Obviously, it was the big breakout star, but there was a girl named Yasmin Bleeth that you might remember from Basketball if you're a big South Park fan. That was always like that was always like my jam. So I was a big Veronica, and the money too. That also helps.
But then you have to deal with
from Boy Meets World.
Yeah, listen, I'm not proud of myself for saying that, but listen, you like what you like. What can I do?
But Betty's better wife material. I think
100%.
I don't think we can debate that.
No, not at all. She's 100%. She's a better person.
I'm just looking at it through the Riverdale lens where she's like a murderer. So we'll just
is Riverdale?
Yeah, sorry,
don't ruin it,
David.
You're ruining it for everybody.
Is Riverdale like a musical?
How did they take Betty? How did they take her and make her a murderer? She's like the nicest character in the comics.
They're all murderers. That's the
Are they really?
It's a big murder cult. Yeah, everybody's a killer. It's like the end of Reservoir Dogs.
It'd be funny if everybody's a killer but Reggie.
Reggie was an underrated character in the Riverdale television show.
Oh yeah.
Or Moose is like the only one that isn't a murder. Moose is like the nicest guy, and he's really weak.
I'm impressed by your knowledge of the characters, having not watched it through the CW
comics.
We love the Archie comics. David and I read that for like 10 years.
Yeah, it was cool, and it was not cool when I was growing up. Like you were not a cool like the comic book nerds, because I always had my hand in all the different subset, like when you're in high school or whatever, and you have like the jocks. I played sports, like guys who are into wrestling. Like I was part of that crew. People who like comic books and Star Wars and that stuff. Like I was, friends with them and everything like that. Didn't really get into the Dungeons and Dragons people, but yeah. And but if you were a comic book person and you like Batman or you're into the Marvel universe or whatever, you look down on the guy who liked Archie, like Archie comics, because they're so wholesome. Like it's so saccharine, so rated PG. And like that was my jam. I just really liked the Archie Digest. And so, people would come over to my house and see it, and I'd be called out and shunned. Not shunned, but they'd make fun of me.
They'd call you Mr. Weatherby.
Yeah, that's it. I was Mr. Weatherby. I wasn't balding back then. I still had a full, luscious head of hair, so don't worry about that.
What's the heaviest movie or show you've loved? Just
I think
dark.
No, well, I mean, I love The Shield. I thought that was a great series. I think that there's very few series that starts off where the plot, the pilot, pays off at the end. Like it goes all the way through. And the characters don't change too much. There's some growth and stuff, and some people like have modest improvements or go the other way. But I thought The Shield really gritty and just carried all the way through, and really enjoyed that because you watch other shows. Like, have you ever watched? I don't know if you were familiar with the show called Friends.
Love Friends.
Okay, but if you ever watch the first season of Friends, Chandler's kind of a sports guy, and I know it's because Bill Lawrence was on the writing staff and kind of patterned Chandler after himself. But Chandler liked the Knicks and liked going to hockey games or whatever. And by season 9, he was effeminate who pretended to like football and all this other stuff. And I always hate that. I always hate that about series. I always hate how much they change characters over the course of the series. The Shield never did that. I thought that was a great show. I liked Kurt Sutter. I love Sons of Anarchy. I love the Mayans has come out too. That's pretty good.
I haven't
Dexter,
seen Mayans yet.
Mayans I enjoyed a lot. Dexter was really good too. And
They're
those are
dropping
always,
a new one, a new season of that one.
I know. I'm curious to see how that plays out.
Me too.
I felt like after the Trinity killer, that should have been when Rita's in the bathtub, you're like, that should have just been the end of the series. Dexter can never win. That would have been a fine send off. There it goes to your point of, series that go on for a little bit too long, but it is. But again, people are actors are working, crews are working, so you can't get too upset about it. But anyways, it's always funny too. Whenever you have those shows, you always have to go back. I always had to go watch a lighthearted show after it. I couldn't go to bed. I couldn't watch an episode of The Shield and then go to bed. I got to watch a cleanser. I got to watch an episode of Scrubs or something just to
Scrubs.
Make myself you didn't like Scrubs?
Zach Braff is.
I got too intimidated when I saw how many seasons there were.
Turkleton, Donald Faison.
That might be my favorite sitcom of all time.
Really?
A great one.
Yeah, I think I would feel comfortable saying that.
Have you seen every episode?
Of course I have. Multiple times.
Did you like the last season they had with Dave Franco and crew?
I don't recognize that season.
That's a prime example of leaving a show on for one too many seasons for money.
Very true. Who is the blonde who becomes the main character in that, and then she's on the show Happy Endings? Gosh, what is her name?
I forget her name.
She's
great though.
Yeah, she's a great actress. She's been in a ton of stuff where you're like, oh, she's really good. And I remember one time when I was writing a column for NFL.com, and I made a reference to her, and I said something about Happy Endings, and somebody on the editorial food chain got really pearl clutching. I can't believe you used an expression like that. How dare you? And I'm like, okay, first of all, creep, it's the name of the show that she was on. That's the reference. Get your mind out. Don't put your projection onto me. I was just saying what show she was on. There was nothing else insinuated or anything like that.
Maybe it's the same person that reported Dr. Seuss as being insensitive.
Well, I mean, if you read his old political cartoons leading up, there are some things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cat in the Hat guy.
It's just interesting years later, 2021, when somebody's like, "All right, no, this is it."
Well, it's like in the Disney movies too, and they have all the hidden messages that they have that aren't kid friendly.
Walt Disney's got his own history too.
There are some vaults you don't want to open.
All right, Adam.
There's
I got a hot
some
take.
that Disney has closed to the Disney vault.
Yeah.
They don't want people.
All right, so I think Friends is basically like Diet Seinfeld. Like it's just a watered down worse version. How do you feel about that?
You know, if you go back and watch some of the first seasons of Friends, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a great show. I know people do that, like, I watched Friends and I didn't laugh once. And I'm like, all right. So I would go back and watch some of the first couple of seasons. I'm like, there's legitimate jokes and laughs here. Like, it's not like the most highbrow comedy. And I think that Seinfeld, does pretty well. The thing though is, like, I can watch Friends now. Like I was watching it today. Friends is like a good thing to have on in the background. Like if you're writing and you don't want to, you want to have something on your television, but you don't want to have it distract. Yeah, you're saying whatever. The one thing about Seinfeld is whenever I watch it, I look back, I'm like, this just doesn't, not that Friends did, but I'm like, God, Seinfeld just doesn't seem like it is the Junko jeans of 90s television. Like, I understand it was very popular at the time, but it's not something that I'm really into right now. And I don't know if that's wrong or not, but
it's very wrong.
Sorry about that.
Your opinion is wrong.
Okay, fair enough. I figured that was coming.
But Seinfeld has done so well over the years. Like, people my age, I'm 26, they still watch it, and it's like, oh yeah, it's so funny. Like it's something where
it's because that was on the UPN all the time, Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's on CBS and Fox now, like 11 o'clock.
Yeah, they've done very well in syndication. There's no doubt about that. But it's still wasn't there. There was like oh yeah,
really
many times over.
Damn, that's crazy. How do you become a billionaire off of a comedy show?
Syndication. Like it was syndicated for years, and it was the top rated program for a long time. I also there's a Larry King interview where he insinuates, or he kind of insinuates the proper word, that Seinfeld was canceled, and Jerry got really upset by this. It's like, what?
Canceled.
You thought my show was canceled? We were number one. We're number one. We're not canceled.
I will say though, Curb Your Enthusiasm is one of my favorite shows of all time.
That's the thing.
It's way better than Seinfeld.
See,
wow.
That's where we find the common ground.
Now I'm gonna have to watch this tonight.
I haven't seen it either. Yeah.
Wow, you're in.
It was just the pleat in his pants. What an episode! What a first episode to lead off with.
The crazy thing about Seinfeld is Jerry met his wife when she was on her honeymoon with another guy. He's a Mr. Steal Your Girl. Have you never heard this?
I didn't know that she was. I thought when he met her, she was like a teenager.
Maybe
I think that was just a different person who was controversial for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I think he was on vacation and he met a woman on her honeymoon, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Jerry Seinfeld is into me." And then he snags this girl when she's celebrating the best time of her life, supposedly.
So far.
I get it. Yeah, I don't know what the female equivalent, like how that would be reversed. Like if I was out on my honeymoon and Jennifer Aniston was into me, like I could see I would have probably told my wife, like, yeah, sorry about this.
It's your hall pass.
But I'm going to go. Jen Aniston, that's a bad example because I don't know. I like Monica. I like Courtney Cox better. But I get it.
God, I just got to get into TV. It sounds like where all the money's at, honestly.
Oh yeah, it's all, well, no, because now it's all streaming. Like nobody watches TV anymore.
That's
it used
true.
to be a thing. Like people would go out of their way to watch these shows. Like it was a big event. Like I know like Game of Thrones did a nice job of it with everybody gathering around. And I remember like being in high school and there were shows like Melrose Place and all the girls would, want to watch, like they would get together to watch it. So you'd be like, I'm going to go pretend like I like this show Melrose Place and go hang out. And,
You know what show I tried to get into and I just couldn't? Twin Peaks. Did you watch that?
No, I'm with you. Like I tried.
I want to get into it too. Is this a word of warning, Brad? It's on my list.
Well, no, it's not bad. Like I don't have anything negative to say about it. It just didn't like I just couldn't keep watching. I don't know
It
what
didn't
it was.
land. Yeah, I'm with Brad. Like it didn't land with me.
And I really wanted to. Like I think the first 2 episodes I was like, holy shit, I really like this. And then something happened. I don't know.
You know what's
Can't
really
describe
good that just made me think of that? Have you guys ever seen Black Mirror?
Excellent.
Well, those are all self-contained, so you can pick and choose.
I
Yeah,
love
but
anything like dystopian or zombie or like tech taking over the world. Like I'm all in.
That's a must watch. I do have to get an ad break in here, so why don't we use
Damn it.
so
We have that?
for
What's
fan
that?
tracks.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, so we'll be right back. We're gonna wrap up with Adam. We'll do maybe a question and game of the week. Have a little bit of fun. Talk a little tiny bit of football with Adam Rank right after this quick break. All right. So why don't we'll want to be respectful of Adam's time. So we're gonna wrap up and do a fun little part at the end of the show. We're gonna do our question and game of the week. So our question this week,
You want to talk
How-
football?
just a teeny bit. Just a
Come
teeny.
on. We've done so well not talking football. What is the question?
The question is, how long would it take you to throw for 1,000 yards?
In a
Like
season?
in hours?
So does that mean you get a football, you throw it, you pick it up?
The qualification.
I feel like we've
means-
done this question before, Dave.
I've never done it with you guys. I did it when you guys all bailed last minute on a show. So I was like, okay,
And I remember editing it.
it's a fun one. So you're throwing a football on a football field, and every
it's-
time. So if I throw the ball 20 yards, I have 980 yards to go. I have to go get the ball, and then I have to throw it again. So how long would it take you think to get to 1,000 yards?
It would take a couple of weeks because I would heave one 50 yards and I would be like, oh, dude, I think my elbow's about to fall off. So I'd walk out there and retrieve it. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And then I would throw the next 150 and be like, I can't throw now. And then my arm would be in a sling for a couple of weeks. And then I would come out and then just start throwing 10-yard passes, probably underhand, just to try to do it. Because my arm's garbage now through playing like sports growing up and, throwing baseballs and all that stuff. Like it's tough for me. Anytime, like even when I go out with my 2-year-old and he's out there running around, or my daughter, she likes to catch the football too, is gosh, if they get more than 10 yards away and I'll try to like zip one to them just because I'm an ass. I'm like, oh my God, my elbow just starts throbbing. I'm like, there's probably something wrong with it. Like but it's like, at some point in your life, you're like, it's not, I'm not required to throw a football more than 50 yards. So there's no need to go get like some sort of expensive surgery or anything like that. So if I was conservative, it would probably be like in 20-yard clips. So that's 5. Do I have to do the math? So 5 was 5 times 10. Was it 50 times? Is that 1,000? I don't know.
Sounds right to me.
I was going to upload a picture because I had a picture of you with a football, and I would say, is this a lie then? Because you look so athletic in the picture.
I'm athletic. I look the part. Like when if you see me, that's a great good form. I can swing the ball.
That's very senior picture-esque.
I was gonna say, look, it's a lie because after 2 throws, you're done.
I bet you can throw right and left-handed.
Yeah, that's the
Talk
thing.
about how nice that tie is.
People will look at that and be like, what are you doing with a football there? I'm like, I'm getting ready to throw it. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm left-handed, you idiots. Like, look at, oh, okay. Because it looks awkward otherwise. Like, if you think of it as a right-handed person, you're like, what is going on? Like, what are you doing? So that photo might be a little bit of a lie, but there's a lot about me that if you see me in the clubhouse at your golf course, you would be like, this guy's good. Like, this guy is probably a scratch golfer. No, nothing could be. No, that's not accurate at all. But I look the part. Like, if you were casting somebody, we need somebody who looks like they're good at golf. If I went
You're
down to Central.
confident too. That's like half of it.
Yeah, that's the confidence is good. Although it is weird. I have this thing about golf. Like, I won't wear a white belt unless I'm really confident.
Unless it's before Labor Day.
Yeah, you got to have the. Yeah. It's Southern California. It's always before Labor Day. It is you're gonna have that white belt energy. Like you're a different person. Like if you're out there, my friend Bao, he golfs in outrageous outfits. And every time he comes, and it's amusing at this point now, but I'm like, bro, like when you hit that first, like when we're on the first tee, you know, and everybody's around and people are milling about, I go, when you hit that, if you nail your first tee shot, then people look at you and you're like, that guy is probably amazing. Like he probably was on the Corn Ferry tour at some point and got thrown off for drinking or whatever, but you look like a stud. And he's a former D2 baseball player, so he's athletic. But I'm like, and he does this more often than not, but I'm like, when you wind up and you top the ball and hit it 20 yards, it is the funniest goddamn thing. To see a guy in highlighter yellow from head to toe, top a ball 20, like this is exactly what I want out of my life. So that's why I'm always very cautious about the white belt, because when you're wearing a white belt, you're making a statement and you're putting everybody on notice of, listen, I know what I'm doing out here.
You have to back it up.
And I'm going to go show you how golf is played. And it's always, and I'm usually like, I'm actually a good first tee person. Like I'm always like, if you saw me first tee, you'd be like, this guy's a stud. But at 18, you'd be like, this guy sucks. Like
what do you
happened?
do on the first that's so different? You just like all your energy in the first hole.
There is something about going out.
Elbow?
Like, oh my God, dude, I will tell you, like I will go out first tee, sit there, tee it up, pipe down the fairway. Look at how great ball. And then for whatever reason, it all starts to fall apart after that. Like, I don't know how I cannot recreate it, but I do it once and it's amazing. And then I just got to walk away. It's like
after the first hole, you should fake an injury. So everybody thinks you're a good golfer and then they just feel bad for you. And
that's a
like,
George
sorry.
Costanza move.
Yeah. I will. Like, sorry, I don't want to re-aggravate my elbow injury.
I will, next time I do that, I'm going to just pull a calf muscle and be like, I can't stay, like just fall on the tee box. And be like, oh, and like ask them to take me back. And then, no, I'll play. And then I'll now look gutty because I'm pushing through this injury, even though I hurt myself on the second tee box. But like, God, Rank really pushed through. Like, yeah, we saw you parred the first hole. You probably would have, like, normally.
Like Tiger during the Masters when he had that bad back injury.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like leaning on the golf club. He's leaning on the golf club to walk.
You got to have the Team NFL Network make you a golf highlight package that you guys play just all on the first hole and then make it seem like it's just like every hole that you're doing that.
That would be great. Just make sure that I'm wearing the same clothes every time. It would be no worries.
The old Gronkowski special.
That's right, yeah.
the reverse Gronkowski because he had to change outfits.
Oh, man. Well, why don't we wrap up? We'll do our game of the week. Have a little bit of fun. Because if you haven't already,
what has this past hour been? I've had a great.
Yeah, what is this?
Even more
pulling
fun.
Teeth.
So, by the way, for the rest of you, how pissed is David going to be when I leave? And he's going to be like, I can't believe Rank just disrespected the rundown like that.
Very.
Went on his own way. This is the thing. We get these guys in, and they just think they can run the show. Like, what a douche.
If you think you're going to be invited back, you are sorely mistaken, my friend.
Never invited.
But me and Brad will have you on the Movie Minutes.
Yeah, podcast. I can't wait. No, I'm already looking forward to that.
Oh man, that's fine. I'll wear the bad bad guy cape for now. But this is fun, man. I love goofing off. I'm going to title this like the Rankum, the movie edition, Adam Rank episode or something.
We bring on senior NFL analyst Adam Rank to talk anything besides football.
I feel that, you know what, that's fun because like when we get into the YouTube comments, it'll be like what a jerk he is, like not wanting to talk fantasy with these guys. Like honestly, it's March. Okay, I guarantee, I promise you, I will come back at some point and we'll get into the fantasy because there's a lot of things to chop. Like the free agency hasn't started yet, the draft hasn't happened. We will reconvene after those major events, and I will have serious
and we'll talk
takes.
San Andreas.
We'll talk
skyscraper.
I won't even mention it once. But like the ATN guys always have their fantasy football extravaganza or the festival or whatever it is. Wait, I think I did the extravaganza. And I went on it, and it was, I did a similar thing where I didn't really talk about fantasy, and like people were pissed, like legit, like that's uncool that you would do that. And what about the people who wanted to learn about fantasy and whatever? And I'm like, bro, like I'm on Fantasy Live 5 days a week. Like if you need to find me to talk fantasy, like you can find me. I never sit down with Dan and Mark and everybody and talk about that stuff. about anything. So I wanted to go off the rails a little bit and just have a little bit of fun. Like, Marcus will be on soon and Kimmy checks and you guys can talk fantasy then. Like, I was just having a laugh. And so I don't mean to be insulting or anything like that. I just, but I will come back at some point and we will have legitimate fantasy conversations.
Adam, I just want you to know we are like I don't even know what to call it. Like, we're the definition to show you what I'm drinking. This is the kind of guy I am. I'm drinking it's a
He's
strawberry.
drinking a Smirnoff Ice.
It's a strawberry.
You've been iced. Well, next time too, I know I can be drinking. Like I just was like, I shouldn't. Like, you never know.
Adam, David, you should know better. By the way, ads really that are for Bud Light lemonade seltzer.
Oh, look at that! Yes, Smirnoff.
Yeah, David, you broke the #1 rule we have: no free ads.
No free ads.
I just had to show Adam the type of podcast we are. I think this gives a good description of it.
My friends at Stone Brewing are now going to be super upset. Oh, I'm sorry. So sorry, Brad. I let it slip again. I am so sorry. I'm sorry. I will sit here chagrined. I will put on my knock-around sunglasses and then just kind of oh, jeez. I'm still doing it.
Are you guys ready to play the Mitch Trubisky of games? Is the question.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys have something to write with?
I have a computer.
Or
I promise if you hear typing, I won't be looking up stuff.
Something that you can show me what you put.
Do I need to do this? Am I in on this?
You're one of us now. You gotta have something ready.
Damn it.
You guys will also get
I've never
sneak peek
needed
at my grocery list.
Something that you can write on, so that way I can see it. Because we're gonna go around. This is gonna be fun.
Oh, actually, I have a game book that we got.
See, Adam, I'm covering our butt here because then when they say there's no football content, there's a game at the end that has football intertwined in it. So I'm just kind of covering.
David, may we start this game with a quote from Lao Tzu?
Oh,
knowing others is intelligence, knowing yourself is true wisdom, mastering others is strength, mastering yourself is true power. So I'm about to share some true power and win this game.
I'm gonna write on my girlfriend's dog and see if she flips out.
All right.
Our game of the week is sponsored by Adam Rank.
Hey, look at that. Lefty.
The handsome man right there.
Oh,
looks so serious too. All right, so the game's called Who Dat. So I've got 10 guys that have retired. I'm going to flash them on the screen. You get 1 point if you get the correct name, and then you get a bonus point if you can tell me the last team that they played for. And it doesn't count if they got cut and didn't actually play a game for them. So the last time they actually got in. All right?
Oh, boy.
Everybody good?
So if they did, whoever they got signed by?
So like the first point is just the name, and then the second point is like, let's say I'm just going to give a random example. Let's say I picked Beanie Wells.
By the way, David, this will be fantastic for the audio portion of the podcast.
Oh, no, I'm just going to redirect them to our new YouTube channel, and they can check out our new YouTube channel and play the game with us when they watch. So let's say, Beanie Wells played with the Cardinals, then he signed with the Panthers, played one game, and then he signed with the Jets, but never made out of the practice squad. Yeah. It would be the Panthers would be the answer.
Oh, got it. Okay. I got you.
All right, we ready?
You get 1 point for the name?
1 point for the name, and then 1 point if you can tell me the last team they played for. Got in a game.
10 is a lot. You should do 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do 5.
Oh, you guys are so mean to me. All right,
my beer fridge is downstairs. That's the problem.
All right, I'll pick the best 5 then. All right, so number 1. And what you do is write it down real quick.
Absolutely no idea.
How do you not know who that is?
Everybody's wearing a helmet, David.
And again, if you want to join in on this game, our YouTube channel has every stream. So you can pause the podcast, go to the YouTube, give us a click and a view, and then you can play the game with us.
I guess that kind of counts as an ad since we're on YouTube.
There you go.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, so I'll just go around. Adam, do you know who that is?
Richard Mendenhall.
Do you remember the last team he played for?
The TV show Ballers. He's an executive producer of it.
Is he really?
I think so. I think he's one of the writers.
That's how you transition right there. I love that career change.
Going back to movies again.
Wait a minute. What? I don't know what team he finished with. Was it the Panthers?
I'll tell you at the end.
I don't understand why we needed to write something down.
Yeah, why did
What
I
can
have
we
to
do
write
with
that
that?
I
down?
can't lie and say I knew
Yeah,
that.
like, what if John didn't know that was Richard Mendenhall?
Oh,
I get it.
I was just like, so that way no one can cheat.
Wait,
Brad, what do you-
can I show mine next? I think I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
He was with the Cardinals, right?
I'm not going to answer. Go ahead, John. What's yours?
I had no idea, but I do know football teams, so I can take a stab in the dark. I'm going to go with Cardinals too.
Okay. And Brad?
I didn't know his name, but I think he went to Clemson, and then I said Bills.
I don't even know where Richard Mendenhall went. I think it's an Adam
I
Rank
remember him
question.
at Clemson.
Yeah, I don't know. I would be guessing if I.
It's a shame that people only know him for how he humped Big Ben.
He's never come out and actually talked about that, I feel like. But the answer is the Arizona Cardinals.
That's right.
Me and Eric.
Yeah, John, teamwork.
All right, I got a next guy here. Number 2.
Gosh. All right, I remember him.
We're going to start this time. We'll go Brad first.
He looks like a youth pastor.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna say Raiders, and I don't know who that is.
All right, John?
These are former players?
Yeah.
These are all retired players.
This is Pee Wee Herman and the Saints.
But these, I mean, they've played recently. Like, I didn't pick a name from like 20 years ago.
All right, am I next?
Yeah.
It's Toby Gerhardt with the Jags.
Oh, what? That's Toby Gerhardt?
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where he retired. He went to my rival high school, by the way.
Did he really?
Yeah. But yeah, he did. Yeah, he was with the Jags, wasn't he?
Is that your final answer? That's a question. Be confident with it.
Now, I'm going to say Jags.
Okay. All right, that is the correct answer. Toby Gerhardt and the Jags.
shut out white running backs.
Yeah.
That is, like, at first,
That could have been Peyton Hillis for all I know.
I was about to say, yeah.
Hunter
That's
Renfro.
that's Madden cover Peyton Hillis to you.
He has more hair than Hunter Renfro.
That's true. That's true.
All right, I could go another white quarterback, but I'll go different. Let's go put him on screen.
Oh gosh.
Looks familiar.
Oh gosh. Ugh.
All right, we'll start with John for this one.
I want to say he ended for the San Diego Superchargers.
You don't even want to guess his name?
No, why would I be able to guess a name? If I don't know it, how would I be able to guess it?
Tom Savage or something. Just guess something.
I know he's not Tom Savage.
Okay. That's true.
All
I
right.
don't know why that was the first name that came to mind. All right, Eric, what do you think?
Is that Josh Freeman? And did he finish his career with the Giants?
Adam, what do you think?
I was thinking Josh Johnson, the former USD quarterback who finished with the football team? No, the 49ers.
All right, Brad, what do you think?
This guy may as well be like computer generated for me. I have no idea who this is.
What Madden creative player season is this?
You're just giving up, right?
Yeah, I'm giving up. I have no idea.
It is Josh Freeman, and he played with the Colts his last year.
Oh.
All right, I'm going to give you one.
Why do I
question.
know these former NFL players what they look like?
I
Good
don't know.
question.
It is, yeah. It is weird with you just don't recognize NFL guys. Like, it's just because of the helmets.
I could give you an easier one, but I don't want to make it easy. So let's go this one.
Give me a hard one. I'm on a roll. Oh, that's not a hard one at all.
Or back to Adam, I think, starting this one.
Jonas Gray. With the Bills. No, why can't I recognize who this person is?
When I
Can
say
I
the
just
name,
say,
you're gonna.
this is the black version of a mullet, and it's fascinating. This man's got a fade in the front and some dreads in the back. This is wild.
Remember when Jerry Rice used to do
Yes.
his receding hairline was back here, but he still had dreads. So it looked like he had this shaved head.
Like Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I know who it is. I can't think of who he finished his career with.
I didn't even. Adam, would you say you thought it was who?
Jonas Gray.
I said Jonas Gray.
I'm
What
gonna
a
say
name.
Titans.
That's a throwback. Brad, do you have a guess? Or is it another computer-generated guy?
You wouldn't believe this. I was gonna guess Jonas Gray.
That's not right, though. I don't think I'm correct.
Well, I
Or
want
is
to
it
hear
Ben-
Eric's guess, and then
Wait,
I'll
is it
reveal mine.
Wait, is it Ben Jarvis Green Ellis?
That's not a bad guess. I mean, he did have like long dreads.
I haven't heard
David,
that
can
name
I
in a
guess
long
mine? I
time.
know who it is.
It's John next.
Who is
No,
it?
no, Eric can go first. And then I'll
Go
Just
reveal
say
mine.
who it is.
It's
Go ahead,
Joik
Eric.
Bell.
Who?
Joik
Joik
Bell.
Bell. And I'm guessing the
Is he not
Giants.
really on a team anymore?
No, he's been out of the league. He finished with the Lions. He actually had his whole career with the Lions.
Oh,
Except
this was a tricky one, David. I thought he played with another team for like a
there
snap.
actually, I have to look at his page. There might have been a chance he spent like half a year with another team, but he went right back to Detroit and finished.
I
So,
could have sworn he was floating around as a
all right.
fourth.
Do I want to
yeah.
do I want to give you guys one just for your confidence, or do I want to?
No,
give you
no,
one?
keep showing me
No,
these
I'm
obscure ones.
I thought that was the fifth one. I thought I'd already lost. I thought we were done.
I could show you. All right. You guys know him.
Yeah,
Sure don't.
Jake Delhomme.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go.
That's Carson Palmer.
That's a normal guy that's photoshopped in an NFL jersey.
Where did Delhomme finish his career?
I don't remember. Did he
was he-
win the Super Bowl or did he?
No.
No,
Oh,
they lost
Okay.
on that last second field goal. Did he finish with the Colts when Peyton Manning was out that one year and they started like Curtis Painter and Jim Sorgi?
That's
Was he on
not a
that team?
terrible guess.
This is Sage Rosenfeld. I'm sorry.
It's definitely Jake Delhomme. I just can't think of where he finished.
All right. Well, it is Jake Delhomme, and he finished his career with the
Sage Rosenfeld.
Houston Texans, which is actually the jersey that he's wearing. It's a
Oh,
little
I
bit.
thought that was a Panthers jersey, and we couldn't see the teal.
No, it actually is perfect because if you go into the images, like on the side, it shows Texans on that, but then when I put it on the StreamYard, it cuts it off perfectly. So,
Perfect.
well, it looks like Eric unfortunately wins the game. So I'll give you your customary, if you win the game, your one person cheer.
Yay!
I love the one person cheer.
I know. You act like it's a punishment.
It's just for you. Okay, so you get
I
your
love that I was terrible at that game, but I had like such vast knowledge of Willie Beeman's career.
Adam, you want to switch positions? I'll go work for NFL, and then you can take my spot and
my
talk
God.
movies.
That's
Would
I
you
think
know
that's
Would you know that
Probably-
much about a secondary league? The
no.
answer's no. Exactly.
I mean, the Jim, like Dr. Cox, John C. McGinley plays a Jim Rome type of radio
Ooh,
show
I can
host.
see that.
No, he does in that movie. Yeah,
does.
he plays it. John C. McGinley has a very interesting career if you go back and look at a lot of the things that he was in. Like he was in The Rock. Speaking of Nicolas Cage movies, callback. He's
Yes,
one of
sir.
the soldiers in The Rock. He is he's in the movie with Ice-T called Surviving the I should be doing a movies podcast. Why am I talking
Listen.
NFL?
You can be our
I'm
third mic.
shocked.
Let's do it.
This is, I mean, it's kind of like the debut episode of the movie minutes. So
This is good. Yeah, this was a solid discussion. I feel again, I apologize to everybody.
you don't have to apologize to us. We'll take on the haters. We'll just fire back at them. That's what we do. We
You
protect our own.
guys,
We
you
protect
guys got
our own.
you guys got Adam Rank, and all he did was talk San Andreas.
Hey, like I said, you're
There's
one
no
of us.
fault in that. Get it, everybody?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh
Get it?
wow.
Good.
And you
Adam,
thought
you're
you were
one
a
of us
stand-up,
now.
Adam.
Well, I just really appreciate you coming on. It was a total blast for us to be able to talk with you, talk some movies, talk some good TV shows, shoot the shit, all the good stuff, man. It was a real treat.
Oh no, thanks again. And I'm sorry that we didn't get to it, but I promise I will come back at some point. We'll talk real fantasy football and we'll have a laugh and no San Andreas or anything like that. But thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
No,
I'm
of
really
course.
excited for you to come back and then we just talk movies again.
Yeah.
It should be like how like, Paul Rudd
Brad.
would go on Conan O'Brien and play like one movie clip every time he was on. It should just be like that.